Welcome back to the channel. Another episode of harnessing your energy and some goo gaga crazy things from me. So since I've made this channel and I'm telling the whole world of my beliefs and my beliefs in energy and the universe, I thought I should share with you some of my strange experiences that made me believe in other things. Because as I mentioned in my first video, that I have always been a very scientific minded person. I don't believe or have never believed in things that I can't see. For me, it's very important to be able to touch and feel, see, or at least have scientific logic and proof behind things. So when I was about 16 years old, I had a group of friends and some of my cousins. They all came over to my place and they had this Ouija board where you invite ghosts. And I was like, guys, this is so stupid. There are no ghosts. This doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. And they said, oh, you're such a spoiled sport. But it's fun. Let's just play the game. And yes, they are spirits. Some of them believed in them. I did not. And I was like, yeah. So as they were moving this thing and saying, is there a, I don't know, friendly spirit around, please come to us, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember the whole thing because I didn't really pay attention to it and believe in it. But I was joking around, so the lights were dim, it was really dark, and there was like a candle and everyone was sitting around really quietly. And I said, if there is an evil spirit, I would like it to come into this room and tell everyone that spirits don't exist. And they were like, don't say that, you'll invite an evil spirit. And I was just thinking, these kids, they're my age, but they don't understand, they're stupid. And as I was thinking that, something grabbed me by my neck and I couldn't breathe, and then I fell. So I was sitting on a stool around this table and I fell back holding my neck. And one of my cousins stood up and switched on the light and he said, Ethan, you spoil everyone's fun because we were having such a good time and this could have gone on, but you have to spoil it and ruin it for everyone. While I was thinking in my head that it's one of them who is trying to scare me. When the lights came on and I looked around, they were all sitting around this table. One guy was standing near the light switch looking at me and I was on the ground. And I stood up and I said, guys, I'm not kidding. Someone choked me and pushed me. And they were like, yeah, we know you don't believe in this. So no one took it seriously, no one believed me. Anyhow, a few days later I was sleeping in my room. So I had a bedroom with a small room attached to it, which was my study, where I had a desk and some books and things. And in the middle of the night I started hearing this ding sound, and it was coming from the wall. And I was thinking, that's very strange. We don't have a clock on the other side of this wall, but something's dinging. I didn't pay attention to it and I just thought, okay, it's just in my head. I fell asleep. Next day, exactly at 10 o'clock at night, same dinging started to happen. So I went around, looked around the house, I couldn't see anything, but when I was sitting in my room, I could hear that ding from, and I thought there's no underground, there's nothing below the house. So it didn't make any sense, and I kept thinking, it's just my imagination. That night I fell asleep and I dreamt that all the books and things were flying in from my study into my room, and there was a huge wind blowing and it was really dark. And then I woke up and I couldn't move. So I was kind of like in my bed, completely paralyzed. I had my eyes open and then I saw my mother walk in through the door, look at me and then walk out. So I was like, this is very strange. I don't know what's happening. Why am I paralyzed? I was really panicking. So then next day, I didn't really tell anyone, do anything. I just went to the library to do some research on what happens when you were asleep and why this could happen. In those days, we didn't have internet. So I found out that there is such a thing as sleep paralysis, and our brain secretes this fluid that paralyzes us so we don't move our limbs, and we are completely relaxed and rejuvenate when we're asleep. So I thought, yeah, that's what happened. And then I just thought, and then I asked my mother, I said, why did you come into my room last night? And she said, I didn't. And I said, yeah, I saw you come in, look at me and then walk away. And she said, no. I said, well, I had a dream that all these books were flying in. And she said, it's just a dream and it doesn't mean anything. Anyway, this carried on for a while. I'm telling this story because I'm the guy who does not believe in any of these things, or never did. Even now I have so many doubts. So anyway, I told my mother a few times that I was having these dreams, and it's the same dream that happens all the time, and I wake up and I can't move. And she said, okay, why don't you sleep in my room for a few days, and I'll sleep in yours, and then we can, you'll feel better. So I was fast asleep in her room, in her bed, and then suddenly in the middle of the night, this light switched on and she barged in, and she was like, what the hell do you think you're doing? And I said, I woke up and I was in shock, and I was like, oh, as you can see, I'm asleep, or I was asleep. And she says, no, you're just making it up. I saw you walk into the room and you poked me and then you ran away. And I was like, no, I swear to you, I have not moved. And then she came up close to me and looked into my eyes and she said, you're not lying. You're telling the truth. And I said, yes, I was asleep. And she said, now I can see that you were asleep. And she said, maybe there is something wrong. Anyway, this kept on going for a bit, and then we were planning to move anyway. So we sold the house. The funniest thing that happened was a month later, the people who bought the house rang my mother and said, did you ever experience anything strange in this house? And my mother said no. And they said, well, our son has taken the front bedroom with the little study room next to it, and he says that he has these dreams of things flying through the room, and he sees people going and walking in and out and around, and he's very scared, and we're really worried if the house is haunted. And my mother said, oh no, we've never experienced that. She lied, obviously, not to scare those poor people, but then she came and she said, oh my God, whatever you were telling me wasn't a lie. I didn't really believe you, but now someone else is experiencing the same things. So the whole idea of me telling you this story from my past is there are so many things in this universe that are beyond our understanding, and when our brain doesn't understand something, we just ignore it. It's like allophones. It's a very, very simple example. When you speak a language, there's so many sounds that you hear every day, and our brain gets used to those sounds. So if someone makes a sound when they're talking that our brain doesn't recognize, our brain just deletes it. It's called allophones. And that's why people from other countries, like Chinese people, when they speak English, they can't pronounce certain things because their brain doesn't hear that sound. And it's the same way in our belief system. Things that we think aren't possible, our brain just deletes them and ignores them. In this universe of, I don't know, millions of stars and things, it's impossible that we are the only living beings, or beings with a consciousness and able to do things. And I'm sure there are other civilizations of other species or races or life forms that may be far more advanced than we are, and they do things that we can't even understand or comprehend. Therefore, they mean nothing to us. Thanks for watching. Hope this was of some use. Until the next one.